Welcome back, Bird Gang family. Today on the No Cut Sports Podcast, we discuss my thoughts on the Hard Knock episode surrounding Saquon Barkley. Next, we'll discuss and break down Devante Smith's comments on head coach Nick Sirianni. Also, we'll discuss how Howard Askin recently was banned from the Wells Fargo Center in Citizens Bank Park. And lastly, can Sidney Brown make a comeback before the season? All that and more on the No Cut Sports Podcast. Let's roll. Yo, welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Niall Frazier. And today we got a few things to talk about, but before we get started, could y'all please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe, man. I really do appreciate it. But let's get into what we need to talk about today. A few topics then came out, some big topics actually. And I'm going to also talk about, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Saquon Barkley Hard Knocks episode, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. If you haven't seen it, please don't watch this part of the video because I'm about to play a clip and get my opinion on it. So here goes the clip.
Running back, going to look at Saquon. Do you feel good about eating $3 to $4 million for a fifth round pick? Like, I wouldn't.
I don't know. There's no guarantee we can trade it. So, having the needs that we have in a $12 million, 27-year-old running back.
Trading Saquon is a Hail Mary, and the drama and all that goes with it. We did that last year.
It's 10 years off my life dealing with it. Emotionally, was draining. We spent a lot of time on it. But again, I don't want that to be the reason that we don't do what's best for the franchise.
Okay, so to take this step further, we lose Saquon, right? What's our identity going to be on offense now? And what's our plan what's the next step of that? I guess is what I'm thinking. Like, we're losing
a
large part of our offense, our explosiveness, our touchdowns. Quarterback, if it's Daniel, depends on the run game.
We got to upgrade the offensive line, and you're paying the guy $40 million. It's not to hand the ball off to a $12 million back. My plan is to address the offensive line at some point here in free agency. We're sitting at 6. There's a chance there's an offensive weapon there. This is the year for Daniel. Plan all along was give him a couple years. Is he our guy for the next 10 years, or do we need to pivot and find somebody else?
I pretty much took from the clip that I saw, but I also seen some, and I seen that episode too, so I don't really want to spoil this from nobody for the second time. But the GM, and I hope I say his name right. I'm gonna just call him Joe. I can't really pronounce his last name. I don't know if it's Sean or Shaw, but from the episode I was getting, what I gathered from the episode, it just seemed to me that they were ready to move off of Saquon, simply due to the fact that a couple of different factors in my mind was injury history that they brought up. They also brought up the drama that surrounded last year when he wanted a contract extension and things like that. But if you're asking me, man, to be honest, I think that the front office just made some bad decisions. They could have avoided all this, kept Saquon on their team if they would have franchise tagged Daniel Jones and then just ended up paying Saquon, whatever he wanted at that moment in time. I seen the Giants fans, been making comments ever since, we acquired Saquon Barkley. I'm talking about he's not good. He's not, he's washed, this, that, and the third, which, you can think whatever you want, but you and I both know that he was the identity to the Giants offense. Everybody knows that Daniel Jones is not the guy. No disrespect to Daniel Jones, but it just seemed to be like they were prioritizing, Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. They feel as though that Daniel Jones is the quarterback to get it done for him. I'm not gonna make any comments on that, but to me it just seemed like they were just ready to move off him. They felt like, especially Joe, the GM, he just felt as though that he was at the age, 26, 27. He said that the data points to most running backs declining around that age. But for the type of player that Saquon is, to still be an explosive player, back in 2022, he had an amazing season. I think he did miss a few games, but still had an amazing season. So it's like I can't really understand why. He also spoke to the fact that he wanted to prioritize the offensive line, and I don't think they even did that in the draft. They ended up getting Malik Neighbors, and I can't remember the rest of the picks that they did get. But It just, to me, it just like they just seemed like they were just, just done with him. And I think it was more or less like when Joe had said something, he had spoke about the drama surrounding that incident. Joe pretty much said that took 10 years off my life. So it just seemed like he thought that he was ahead of the curve, I would suppose. But this is another reason why you have to give Howie Roseman the credit and what he does on the off season and how he makes these different trades and gets this type of talent on our team. If you remember, I had spoke about Isaiah Rodgers saying when he walked in the cornerback room, he was like, how the hell did Howie get all this talent in one room? And it just speaks volumes to the way how we can, and we seen it with the war room when the clips dropped with the Commanders, and he was trying to get the different picks so he can move up to get Cooper DeJean. So you can see that it really does matter who your front office, who's your GM and who's in your front office, because the whole time Joe was speaking about moving on from Saquon, you could see the rest of the players, excuse me, not the players, but the rest of the coaches, the assistant GM. They also had asked Tim McDonald, what was going to be the next step, what was going to be, the next step after, or if they did decide to get rid of Saquon, because he knew that they were losing the biggest part of their offense. They know the biggest part of the offense is not Daniel Jones. Only the GM thinks that. So he said he wanted to build around him. We appreciate that, my boy. Saquon's now an Eagle. So shout out to Saquon, man. I also wanted to say, give this stat as well. So last season, or this past season, Saquon was hitting the backfield 46.6%, which is third highest rate for any running back in the league. Okay, Swift was hit 28% on all his carries, which was the lowest rate in the NFL. So Saquon, being the type of explosive player that he is, you can use him. You can use him in different situations. He can play all four downs. He is the type of player that has not had an offensive line like this before. Can you imagine him not getting hit before the line of scrimmage and him having these holes paused to run through? It's going to be a dangerous offense. He can also be, short down offense. I know they spoke about Jalen Hurts having like the sixth most touchdowns within 5 yards of the goal. So it's different things. Those different things that now that Jalen Hurts doesn't have to do. Touch push wise, they can hand it off to Saquon, him being the bigger back, and you can preserve your quarterback. So he brings a lot to the table for our offense. I can't wait to see what not Nick Sirianni, but Kellen Moore does with Saquon Barkley. So let's move on to the next thing that we need to talk about. Devante Smith's comments on Nick Sirianni and his new role. I'm going to read this quote to you right quick. He said this at his third annual softball game, but the quote is, like he said, it gives him time to do a lot more, to see a lot more, and think that's a good thing. Smith in his press conference room via Ed Kratz, when the head man has the power to put his hands on everything, to see everything, it makes it easier on himself and it makes it easier on us, because sometimes what we may see, he may not see because he was focused on something else. So my thing is this. And this is probably to me, I'm taking it as he's going to let the coaches coach. Like I said I've been saying in these videos, coaching has been a problem for us, okay? Inexperienced coaches. As much as we love Shane Steichen, Shane was not, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Shane, but Shane was fairly still new calling plays. He did a very good job, but he was still fairly new. He didn't have, those years of experience that somebody like Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, Clint Hurt, Christian Parker, things like that, King, all those type of guys combined have a whole lot of experience to give these players, younger players, to be able to mold them and to be the, into the player that they need them to be. And it's just good to hear that. It's kind of weird though, because Devante Smith says this, but then when Jalen Hurts doesn't want to answer the question, he catches a whole bunch of slack, this, that, and the third. But I just know, like, and even speaking to what Devante said, I know they always talked about Nick Sirianni wanting an explosive offense, a lot of passing, big explosive plays, which usually comes from pass plays. But I think they got away from the element of the run. That's another reason why you go out here, you go pay somebody like Saquon Barkley, because like I said, he can facilitate on all facets of the game. So you don't want somebody like and I'm no disrespect to DeAndre Swift, because he had 1,000 yards last year for us, but DeAndre Swift couldn't pass block. And you knew when you were bringing Kenneth Gainwell in there, you knew he was probably just going to pass block. So it made our offense pretty much predictable last year. 49ers came out and said it, and it was all downhill from there. So hopefully, you know, we get it together on that side of the ball. But I do know, and I kind of do think that, you know, Nick Sirianni is kind of in the hot seat with his job. And hopefully, like, they can turn it around this year. If they have a good year, I expect, you know, Nick Sirianni still to be here. But if they don't, they start off slow or anything happens, who knows what happens with Nick Sirianni. So, but let's move on to the next topic, the early return of Sidney Brown. I wanted to read another quote from Ed Kratz where he's saying, "I'm back to moving full speed. I'm running about 22 miles per hour again, slowly climbing it up there. I'm still working on lateral movement, but I'll be as close to 100% as I can be by the start of the season, and we'll see what happens with that." And that was Eagle Sidney Brown via Ed Kratz. I'm hoping, honestly, I'm really hoping to get Sidney Brown back because safety-wise, he played very well, and I think he's a key piece to this defense. But one thing I do want to talk about is the safeties that we do have, right? A lot, and I heard this in a different video, but a lot of the guys, that might have been Anthony DeBono that said this, but a lot of the guys that we do have on our, you know, on our roster that are safeties in previous times have been injured. You know, CJ's been injured, Blankenship, Sidney Brown right now. So, and then I don't know if they're going to use Cooper DeJean. I know I keep saying that, but I don't know what they're going to do. And I guess it probably depends on what I'm talking about, depending on training camp and things like that, what they see. But do you think we still should go out there and maybe try and get another veteran safety on this team just for depth? Because, and this is no disrespect to the safeties, I hope everybody has a healthy season, but you still got to have, you know, a backup plan just in case. And you never know with that, man. You might want to, you know, see what's out there. I know we talked about Justin Simmons. Who knows if he's even coming here? He's still being linked to the team, but you know, time's kind of running out. So, I mean, if he wants a bag, it's pretty much, you know, over and done with. So, and I think they got another player out there from the Bears. I can't remember my guy's name, but so some different things to look at with that. But hopefully, you know, and I know they ain't gonna rush him back because usually you take about a year to come back from an ACL injury. But it's good to hear that Sidney Brown's making progress with that. I really do hope to have him back sometime this season. Don't want to rush him back, but we'd love to have Sidney Brown back this season. So, lastly, we're going to talk about, and this is hilarious to me. So, lastly, we're going to talk about the recent. So recently, Howard Askin, right, had made, because we've been talking about on this podcast. So recently, Howard Askin made some comments about Jalen Hurts, you know, coming out talking about that they were going to Carson Wentz him and all this other stuff, and then he kind of like, you know, added to his comments to try to, you know, make it a little bit better, all right. But long story short, I get on Facebook this morning, all my social medias, whatever you want to call it, and I see that Howard Askin is banned from the Citizens Bank Park. And I'm like, oh wow, like what's going on? So I went to go look into it. I guess he had a situation where he kissed a young lady that didn't want to be kissed. She said something to whoever she needed to say something to, and you know, one thing led to another. He ended up getting banned from the Citizens Bank Park. But then right before I got on here, he also got banned from the Wells Fargo Center, which is long overdue as well, because remember AI and all that, you know. Even Charlie Manuel went for the Phillies. So my thing is this. I ain't going to sit there and, you know, I ain't trying to stir the pot. But maybe this is backlash for what he said about Jalen Hurts, because I said in multiple videos that this was some BS. I said, when have we ever had a problem with the leadership of Jalen Hurts or even his play? Like, yeah, he might have been playing injured and, you know, the scheme of the offense wasn't, you know, drawn up too well. But to say that he has leadership problems and you compare him to Carson Wentz is crazy to me. So, man led us to a Super Bowl. He's been nothing but, you know, gracious with his time, you know, with fans, giving back to the school districts, you know, putting AC units in the school district in Philadelphia, you know, signing the kids. He signed his cleats, gave them to the kids. There's all types of different things that Jalen Hurts does and stuff probably in the background that we don't see. But this coming out about Howard Askin just lets me know even more that this dude's a clown. Like, And I seen his son came out, he said something, you know, support our family at this time. Don't nobody want to support that, bro, because if that's true, that ain't cool, man. So they only banned him for a year, but honestly, he just need to be fired because, like, I ain't, you know, I don't like taking money out of nobody's pocket, but that just doesn't make any sense to me, man. People come out and say the things that they want to say, but at the same time, use it as fuel for your fire too as well. But oh, and one more thing, I know I knew I was forgetting something. I know I was talking about the Saquon earlier. I was talking about Saquon Barkley right in the clip. AJ also came up, and if I got the tweet, I'll put it up here. I can't remember the tweet verbatim, but he said he gonna give it his all for Saquon this year. He said that clip wasn't even about me, but I'm gonna make sure I give it my all in this field this year. So to me, what does that sound like? Super Bowl. So nothing less than the best. I think the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl with this roster. I know I keep saying it. People tell me don't say it, but I like to speak things into existence, man. It's no way in the world I don't see us getting. And I know, you know, we got some things that change, you know, on both sides of the ball, coordinators, coaches, some players added. You know, you got to get some things right. But if you're asking me right now, like I said, I put my ticket in. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl. They got a lot of work to do before that time, so I see, you know, the guys putting in that work. I seen Jalenhurts, like I spoke about yesterday. You know, he was out here working out to Randall Cunningham's highlights. So everybody's in the zone, man. I even seen Saquon. He had posted some pics today too as well. When all this information that came out about the Hard Knocks episode, and he was just showing him working. So that's all I want to see. Nobody's addressing the BS. Allow us content creators to do that. And, you know, we going to keep it pushing how we keep it pushing, man. But like I said, man, I think all signs are pointing back to the Super Bowl, God willing. And I think we can get it done this time. So with that being said, man, I'm going to wrap this video up. I appreciate y'all watching. But if you could, please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe. And y'all already know, man, go Birds. I'm going to holler at y'all. And also have a safe 4th, too, if I don't talk to y'all, man. But I'm definitely going to be dropping, so make sure y'all stay tuned and keep them notifications on so you can get alerted from when I drop a video. But again, it's now Fridges from the No Cuss Sports Podcast. I'ma holla at y'all. Go Birds.